thanks for taking the time to meet with me there, Paul.
Of course,
Very
thanks for having
excited
me, John.
to learn more. Yeah, to learn more about your business. How do your clients, come to find you? How do they know it's time to work with a mortgage broker?
Yeah, good question. I think it's pre-wired now a little bit more that, I mean, if you look at incentives, I tell every client, like, look at the incentives right now. A bank can sell you only their products. There are 50 other lenders out there. So just out of selection and doing your due diligence, unless you want to, go to each one of the major 6 banks and like have appointments, pay for parking, do all the work, right? If you want to be a part-time broker, go for it. And there's also, 40 plus lenders that are monolines, which are still A lenders that you have no access to. Why? Because they just don't have the infrastructure to have you come into a branch. They need to talk to a professional like a broker, and they need us to translate whether you're going to qualify or not, because time is your biggest enemy, right? So you want selection on the broker side, and then around incentives, like someone at a branch is selling usually more than just mortgage products, not always. And a lot of times they'll have at least full salary or portion of salary. So the incentive to work extra hard for you beyond just quote unquote getting it done is lowered, because they work off volume to make the money they need to feed their family. So they're biased towards their product. They don't get, they don't make as much, and they're more high volume. Yeah, you'll be treated like a number. And, that means you're going to have to do a lot more of do-it-yourself education and your own strategy. And I think people that are first-time buyers, business owners, people that are really analytical, and they just want an advisor to have on standby, not just the first 5 years of the mortgage, but the remaining 30. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer picking the right broker versus, a bank rep that might be floating around different branches or might just leave the industry, right? So those are the main things. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it just, if you're education heavy and you want the selection and you want someone to work hard for you, I mean, yeah, that's when I think brokers make sense. People still, I think, really much are pre-wired to go to their bank because that's what their parents did. That's the low-hanging fruit. And by all means, go shop around, see the experience there, of course, see the rates, and then, of course, go to a broker. Now, rates, will be, very comparable. Now, sometimes, a certain bank branch may have a lower rate, depends on the time of the year. Sometimes it's the broker, whether it's at that same bank, because we also work with the banks, right? Or it's at a non-bank lender that has a great promotion that you would never hear about. So, play out your options, but you've got to weigh out, I think, your time. Like, do you want to be a part-time broker? Is that worth your time? Can you perform at that level? The answer is likely not, right? So think about that. But again, even if it's just between brokers, try a couple of brokers. Because I think the first person you meet, you assume that's the bar, that's the standard, and you should just accept it. If you talk to 2 different people, whether it's, branch level and broker or 2 brokers, I think you'll see some wild differences. And then you'll know, honestly, who's just a better personality match for you, who educates you more, who's going to meet you where you are. That's a very personal choice. The good news is we have lots of options. And that's great, but also can be, of course, an issue if you're, shopping with too many brokers, too many banks, then you get overwhelmed and you're not making decisions. So there's a limit there. But yeah, to your question, talk to a broker when you're just being strategic on weighing your options, shopping for rates, but getting education. And of course, if you go the bank or the broker route, at least on the A side of lenders, and you see you can't qualify, okay, what's plan B? What's plan C? And that's where brokers are exclusively going to be your option for B and C lending, because you cannot get that by yourself.
No, that's great. That's a great way to finish. I like that.